Yo! I replayed Metal Gear Rising Revengeance not too long ago. I finished my playthrough a couple days ago, maybe, and I just felt like making some videos about it because it was a very good throwback to old PS3 type of games, and just I really miss games like this. Can we all agree that we need to bring games like this back? Can we all just come in agreement and tell the gaming developers and everything that we don't want any more, I don't even know what people call them anymore. There's hero shooters, and I'm getting so bored of those, especially the stupid ones that come out like Concord and stuff like that. Like this newest game that came out, the Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, looks so cool. I never even played the first one, but it looks so amazing. It looks like a throwback to Gears of War with a whole bunch of hack and slash stuff thrown into it. It looks so cool, man. And I am so glad that games like this, like that, are still around, because the PS3, Xbox 360, that type of era was so perfect, man. But yeah, this game is not on the PlayStation Store for some weird reason. It is on the Xbox Store, so my fiance bought it and I played it because it's really good. And they're having a huge Metal Gear just obsession right now, I guess is what it's called. But yeah, I don't know. This is my favorite Metal Gear game. It's also one of the only ones that I've played. The only other one I played was for PlayStation 2, I think, and it had Psycho Mantis. That's the only boss fight I don't really remember. But yeah, today's video is a ranking of all of the Metal Gear Rising bosses. This is going to be a ranking of the boss fights, not the actual bosses themselves. If you want a ranking of them for their personality and moves and everything like that, then definitely subscribe. Tell me all that you want to see it in the comments. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. And like I said, this is over their fights, not their character. So please do not get mad at me for, I don't know, me not putting the best one, the one with the best personalities up at the top. It's just over, actual fighting mechanics and everything. You know what I'm saying. Let's jump into the video. In dead last place is Grad. I didn't even realize that this thing was supposed to be a boss. This is just a really not that good fight. All you have to do is hit him until he gets thrown back, and then he turns into a Metal Gear. And a fairly small one at that. I mean, it's extremely small for a Metal Gear, but yeah, I don't know. It's just not that fun of a boss fight. It's very forgettable. This is the only one that I would actually say is forgettable. But yeah, this is definitely last place, and I don't have anything to say about it other than hitting it back was pretty fun because I felt really powerful while I was doing it. Just a power fantasy. And this is a very rule of cool game, and this thing isn't that cool compared to the other bosses. So let's move on to the next one, which is a huge step up in quality and how cool it is and everything. Blade Wolf is one of the coolest looking ones, I would say, especially whenever it comes to the just regular robot designs. It's a big hound robot with a chainsaw on its back, and its tail can attach into it. It's pretty fun to fight against, but there are a lot of parts in the fight where he just jumps up on the wall to where you can't hit him, and then calls in a few regular humans or cyborgs to fight, and it's just, that part gets pretty annoying and really old really fast. But the actual fighting him is pretty fun. He has a lot of tail attacks, a lot of just launching his chainsaw, a few attacks that are just really cool. Yeah, he's a blade wolf. He's a wolf with a chainsaw, and that is always really cool. The next one up is Metal Gear Ray. This fight is one of the coolest starting boss fights ever. This will make you feel like such a big man before you eventually get cut down pretty easily later within the first chapter of the game. But this first fight is so beautiful. The Metal Gear Ray is just so massive and intimidating, and you just easily cut through it, and it is so cool. You run on the missiles to get to it. You dodge a whole bunch of missiles while running down a building. You eventually just cut off its head and blow it up. It's so cool. This is like I said, this is a very rule of cool game, and this right here is one of the coolest boss fights. And every first boss fight will set a mood for the game, you know what I'm saying? And this first boss fight sets a mood of hell yeah. Okay, Sundowner is at 6th place in this 9-person ranking, and I do not know if I'm going to get hate for that. I feel like this is probably a beloved boss fight or a very hated one just because of how different it is, I guess. But yeah, I thought this was cool. Sundowner as a character is really, really cool, but his boss fight was you know what I'm saying? It's definitely middle of the road for me whenever it comes to this game. Some of them are super epic, some of them are just a little bit cool. I think this one is really cool because every time he puts up his armor and charges at you, if you attack him, it does a big blast attack against you. And I thought that was a really cool, just way of implementing his armor. I was actually thinking it would, like, shoot a laser or something, and it didn't, which I'm extremely glad because dodging lasers in this game isn't easy. But yeah, this is just a really cool fight, and you get a sword from it, which I did not use very often just because I didn't like it, and I didn't think it was all that good for the playstyle I was going with. It's the unique weapon slot, but yeah, it's not that good for the playstyle I was going with. I loved the one you got from a boss that's higher up on here, and I didn't really take into consideration like what weapons you get from them or anything. I just thought it would be a cool little thing to add into this video, just to tell you, I don't know what you get for beating him, but yeah, it's just a big old scissor sword basically. But yeah, this is a pretty good fight. Him falling at first doesn't really matter because he gets caught by a helicopter and then you eventually kill him. And yeah, I mean, this is just a really cool boss fight with a pretty cool character. I don't know if I'm going to get hate for putting Metal Gear XLS above Sundowner, because like I said, I don't know how people feel about the Sundowner boss fight, but I have noticed that a lot of people like the human characters a lot more than just the Metal Gears and stuff. But I am of the belief that this game should be judged on rule of cool and, you know, like actual fighting mechanics and everything after that. But that's just because this game gives me an adrenaline rush unlike any other. But yeah, Metal Gear XLS is just so cool, and you picking it up and slinging it around and then ripping off the blade of it and then parrying it every time Senator Armstrong you know, like he tries to hit you with the blade is really cool. And then you get to go into the I guess, I cannot remember what it's called, blade time or whatever, and cut it with the giant blade, and it's just really slow slashes, but it cuts all the way through. It's just really cool, man. This is a genuinely awesome fight, and fairly simple. You just gotta, like, hit the blades whenever they fall, and then you break each leg, or two of the legs at the same time, or not at the same time, but like one in a row, and then you flip them over, you rip off the sword, and then you just do some, you know, button inputs to parry, and then you get to cut them up. It's just a really simple but awesome fight, and this thing has enough actual attacks to make it pretty cool. And the cowbots, or whatever they're called, I don't even know what they're called, they moo, so I call them the cowbots. But yeah, two of them get summoned whenever he uses its laser, and yeah, it's just cool. It's just really cool is all I gotta say about it, I guess. And then the lasers hit them, and you can, you know, grab their, whatever it's called, the freaking core that's in them, so that you can get some heals and stuff. So it's not impossible on harder difficulties. But yeah, this is just a really cool boss fight, and maybe one of my favorite boss fights in video game history, just because of how cool it is, and you taking it down it's just so epic. Next up is Mistral. I have absolutely no idea if other people put her this high, but she just looks really cool. She looks like a Lovecraftian beast with the arms on her and everything. Looks like an Elden Ring boss, kind of. And then just the little guys that are super annoying, dogpiling you or trying to while you're fighting her is really cool. And killing her by hitting the liquid nitrogen and then cutting her in half is so cool. That's just So awesome, man. I don't know. It's like the Jason X kill where he slams the chick's face into liquid nitrogen and then smashes it down. It's just really cool. Freezing stuff and then breaking it is always going to be cool, and I don't think anything could change that. But yeah, other than that, the weapon you get from her is the one that I always use. I can't remember what it's called. It's the rod or the pole or something. Very weird. Very weird to call it the rod. But, yeah, I have no idea. It's just a really cool fight, and I always liked the way that she just connects two arms and it becomes that somehow. It's just, this game is very rule of cool. No, they don't really have any cohesive thoughts on how the stuff works, I don't think. I think they were just in the writing room and they were just like, you know what would be cool? Her slamming these two arms together and making it into a perfectly functional, like, sword whip weapon thing. And they were like, yes, that would be extremely awesome. But yeah, that basically explains why I like her. She's just really cool boss fight. And the ending cutting in her in half while she's frozen definitely helps. Next up, we have Jetstream Sam. Yeah, this was a really cool boss fight. Reminded me of Afro Samurai, like his fights and stuff like that. I don't know why. I think it was just because it's in like a weird outdoor area, like kind of. It's not even a field or a meadow or anything. It's just like rocks. It's like a desert, basically. I think it was a desert. But yeah, this is just a really cool fight. If this list was ranking them from importance in the actual story of the boss fights, like how important they are to the actual story, Jetstream Sam would be closer to the top, definitely up to 2. I think he would be second place at least. Maybe because next place is actually pretty important to the actual story too, but I think his is definitely higher than the next place, which if you've been, keeping track, you probably know who it is. But yeah, it's just a really cool, like, samurai-like fight. It's really, really cool. I don't know. I just like Jetstream Sam as a character, and him giving the sword to Raiden ends up saving Raiden's life at the end. So I mean, yeah, Jetstream Sam was just a cool guy. In second place, we have Monsoon. Yeah, Monsoon is just a really cool psychic character. Reminds me of, Psycho Mantis and stuff like that. But Metal Gear has a lot of these psychic characters. But he's really cool. He's got a magnetic body that he can use to not take any damage. Like, you'll be using sword time on him, and he'll just be dodging it nonstop. And then he also has the psychic abilities, so he can throw helicopters and stuff at you. So he'll just take damage, jump up on a pole, or a pedestal or something, throw some trucks and helicopters at you, and then he'll come down, take no damage, and then you'll knock his head off. You go and run to the head and just start hitting it like crazy, and then you basically do that about 2 or 3 times, and then he jumps up on the building that you're fighting in front of, and he tries to chunk a giant statue thing at you. And then you just have to do button inputs to run up the statue and then cut off his head. That's the part where I died like 10 times and had to reset, like, running up it, because I was playing on an Xbox, like I said, and RT instead of R2 messed me up so bad. I thought it meant, I don't know what I thought it meant. It's right trigger. I know that now, but I thought it meant right top, so I kept on hitting the top one, and then I was like, oh, it just wants me to run. So I hit the buttons to run, and it finally worked. Only 10 deaths from that. But yeah, let's just decide to call all of it R1 and R2 from now on, because that hurt my feelings. This game hurt my feelings very deeply. But yeah, this is just a really cool boss fight, and I don't know, I'm a sucker for psychic characters in Metal Gear, I guess. Psycho Mantis is like one of my favorite villains and characters in general in this series. Don't get mad at me for that. Keep in mind, I have only played 2 of these, like I said. But yeah, he's definitely number 2 for me. Not in importance to the story, like I said, but just fighting against him was really cool. He's almost number 1, except actual number 1 just has a way better personality and lines and everything. He's just one of the greatest villains in gaming history, honestly. But yeah, you know who it is. Let's go on to number 1. If you've played this game before, then the number one spot being Senator Armstrong makes absolute sense to you. You have no questions, and this is just obviously who wins. Whether I'm talking about importance to the story, personality, the actual fight, literally anything, Senator Armstrong wins because he is the perfect American. He is what we all want to be. He puts his arm out and an eagle flies upon it, and then bird feeds him a delicacy meal. Anything he wants from that eagle, it gives him because he is the perfect man. Look at him. He is so beautiful. And, as always, you know, he definitely has nanomachines, son! But yeah, we all knew he was going to be number one, so I mean, no surprise there. But all of the other list was pretty different from everyone else's, I'm guessing. I don't really know anyone that plays this other than my fiance, and I'm pretty sure it's kind of different from their tier list that they made. Yeah, I don't know. Comment who your favorite boss fight in this game is. Actually, second favorite. We all know everyone's real favorite is Senator Armstrong, so go ahead and just comment your second favorite. Yeah, like, subscribe, all of that YouTube type of stuff. Go play Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. It's a good game. A very good game. You can trust me. I have good taste. But yeah, like, subscribe, and see ya.